The Agegroup Podcast. The Agegroup Podcast. The Agegroup Podcast. The Agegroup Podcast.
All right, so I'm David Fletcher from Hull. I'm the good-looking brother, slightly older, 3 years older. So Rob's always chasing me.
Which one's the oldest one?
Rob's 3 years younger than me, so that we only get, as it works out, we only get 1 year every 5 years where we're in the same age group. So that's always quite big when we can try and do that. But
yeah. I'm Rob Fletcher. I'm from Hull as well, and been doing age group since about 2013, but started triathlon in 2011. Right. Having to think back, it's a lot of moons ago, isn't it?
Time does fly, doesn't it?
So yeah, going back to the age group with Dave, is once every 5 years we get to race each other in the same age group.
That must be awesome, though.
Well, we hadn't really had a chance yet. Because it was COVID last time, wasn't it?
Of course,
yeah, so that was the first one we was really going to race together.
Yeah.
Was that supposed to be in Australia? It was like all out.
Yeah, it was going to be Australia, wasn't it, or something? And then the one it was going to be Holland as well. Aviles, was it Aviles or something?
Yeah.
It was going to be there, wasn't it, as well?
So it's come round to this year where we've got Abu Dhabi, where we can race together.
Yeah. That was the plan.
That was the plan, wasn't it? And then it all kind of...
It's all going a little bit weird.
Kind of
but we're still hoping to be on the start line together. Yeah. If we can get on the start line together, that'll be all right.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Agegroup Multisport Podcast with me, Richard Conway, and those are the voices of Dave and Rob Fletcher. First for us on the podcast, having siblings who have become age group athletes. Really nice to meet the guys in person. They come over from Hull, across the Humber Bridge, and we sat down face to face and had a right laugh. 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours in, and they regaled the stories of life and how they got into triathlon and multisport, and the ups and the downs through it all. And we laughed and we almost cried, with Dave's story of the reoccurring cancer issue that he's had since I think he was about 18, and he's still battling today. But it was great to see them being positive and fighting and not giving up, and also the support that he has from his brother, not just going through cancer, but support training and racing together. It was so nice to see that bond between the two of them. So that's coming up. Personally, training's going really well. We are into week 6 of our week 11 road to East Fortune, where we're going to try and qualify for age group in the sprint duathlon up there in Scotland. It's a race we did last year. A gang of us went up from our club, and we're doing the same again. And I'm hoping for a bit better results than I got last year. So watch this space. There are videos on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, that you can go and watch me training and see how I've been progressing over the last 6 weeks. So if you're interested in training and what somebody my age gets up to, give them a watch. And if you like them, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So the training's been going well. Over the last 2 weeks, I had a deload week in week 4. Week 5, ramped it back up again, and now we're in week 6. So all going according to plan, managing to stay injury-free, which is the main thing. So that's the training side of it. I'm in the middle of reading a book by one of our former guests, Pete Eggleston, who was on episode 130. Check it out, really good episode, as they all are. And Pete wrote a book, and it's more of a memoir about the title is What Has Triathlon Ever Done For Me? And it's basically a memoir of his last 20 years in the sport, and I'm really enjoying it, I've got to say. He sent me a copy, signed it, and I've had it quite a while now, and I picked it up a couple of weeks ago, and I'm ploughing my way through it. And if you're interested in not somebody who's professional in the sport, but somebody who's like been in the sport as an amateur for 20 years and interested to hear the story in detail, get across to Amazon. I'm sure you can find it on there, and it's What Has Triathlon Ever Done For Me by Pete Eggleston. So that's bedtime reading. Podcast recommendations. We have been listening to a couple of podcasts. No, don't worry, I've not gone back to work yet. The weather's still dire, but that will be coming up shortly. The first podcast recommendation was from Sigma Sports, and Matt Stevens was interviewing Alistair Brownlee, and it's post-athlete Alistair Brownlee now, what he's been doing since he retired. And really good listen. Nice to sort of like catch up on what Alistair was doing and the businesses that he's been involved in. So that's definitely worth a listen. And then the second recommendation is the Simon Ward podcast. And he was talking about, which is very relevant to me, recovery for over 50s. So even if you're not over 50, it's really worthwhile listening to this episode. And I've got to say a big thank you to one of our former guests, John Armstrong, who I went to visit last week, and he gave me a big box of goodies, gels and cakes and all sorts of things that he'd got hold of, and he had far too many for his own consumption. So he messaged me and said, did I use them and would I be interested? So I said I would. And went over to see John, and again spent a couple of hours with John catching up, and it was great to catch up. And so big thanks to John for that. I have used them in my training, especially on the long bike ride I do on a Sunday, so they've really come in handy. So a big thanks to John for that. Right, we're going to move on to the main event. I hope you enjoy this. Like I said in the introduction, I had a right laugh with these two brothers. And I hope it comes across really well. So we shall, as always, see you on the other side. Thank you for agreeing to do this and coming all the way from Hull. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Trip to the seaside nearly, isn't it?
Yeah. How's Mrs. C?
Mrs. C's all right. She's working. She was off yet. Well, she was working from home yesterday, which was a bit unusual. But yeah, she's good. She's just started to get aquathon, because she's the aquathon manager.
Yeah, right.
She's just started getting the aquathon people who are definitely going to go to Abu Dhabi.
She'll have a lot of questions to answer.
Yeah, she does. Oh, the work is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah. Yeah. The first year she took it over, which was last year, it was, because aquathon, you can put like separate times in for different parts of the event, so you can put a different 5k time. It doesn't have to be the same race, because there isn't very many aquathon races. So you can submit a 5k race.
Could you do that as well at Abu Dhabi?
Yeah.
That's what.
You can.
But so you can submit a 5k time and then a separate pool swim.
Oh, right, okay.
Or you could do a triathlon and submit the bits.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and there's all different, like the Qs, Q1, Q2, Q3. I think there's only 3 now, and there's all different times that
You have to meet.
Well, this is good because people don't know how to get into that as well. So
No.
that's quite good to talk about that. I don't know if you probably have talked about it before.
Well,
even bringing stuff like that, people don't know how to qualify for them, do they?
People don't know about them. That's the thing. So it's something that I'm thinking about in the future on my channel to introduce people to the different, not just triathlon, but the different. You know, like the aqua bike, the aquathon,
the
duathlon.
Swimming, I just don't like swimming.
Well, that's why people do duathlon, isn't it? And that's the beauty of multisport, is because there's something for everyone.
Yeah, that's it. That's the good thing, innit?
If it was sinking, biking and running, you'd be pretty good, to be fair. You would be pretty good at that, wouldn't you?
I would, yeah.
Do you swim at all?
It sinks.
Not really.
You don't
no.
bother swimming?
I don't.
I swim.
You
yeah,
swim?
Yeah.
No, I don't swim.
Yeah.
No.
Right, shall we make a start?
Yeah.
Right, so if you'd just like to introduce yourselves, who you are and where you come from, take it away.
All right, so I'm David Fletcher from Hull. I'm the good-looking brother, slightly older, 3 years older. So Rob's always chasing me.
Which one's the oldest one?
Rob's 3 years younger than me, so we only get, as it works out, we only get 1 year every 5 years where we're in the same age group. So that's always quite big when we can try and do that. But
Yeah. I'm Rob Fletcher. I'm from Hull as well, and been doing age group since about 2013, but started triathlon in 2011.
Right.
Having to think back, there's a lot of,
Yes.
lot of moons ago, isn't it?
Time does fly, doesn't it?
So yeah, going back to the age group with Dave, is once every 5 years we get to race each other in the same age group.
That must be awesome, though.
Well,
We hadn't really had a chance yet.
chance.
Because it was COVID last time,
Oh,
wasn't
of
it?
course, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first one we was really
We was
going
gonna go
to
for.
race together.
Yeah.
And was that supposed to be in Australia? It was like, right, all out. We'll just-
Yeah, it was going to be Australia, wasn't it, or something? And then the one it was going to be Holland as well. Aviles, was it Aviles or something?
Yeah.
It was going to be there, wasn't it, as well?
So it's come round to this year where we've got Abu Dhabi, where we can race together.
Yeah.
That was the plan.
That was the plan, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
then it all kind of...
It's all going a little
It's
bit
all
weird.
kind of
But we're
changed
still
a
hoping to be
little
on the
bit, so-
start line together.
Yeah.
If we can get on the start line together, that'll be all right.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, it'd be good.
It really will be amazing.
It would be amazing, but
I
that
wonder
might
how
be-
many brothers do actually manage to race each other.
In the same age.
It's
in the
quite,
same age
it's
group,
quite good,
yeah.
Richard, because normally, Rob's normally an age group below me, and a lot of the time we still start off on the start line together.
Right.
So we're still on the start line together.
We still race
And
together.
we still race together, and we did Quambra together, and a 2-hour event. There's 40 seconds in it at the end.
Yeah.
It's 40
Does
seconds
that
in front
help
of me.
you? We should really get into this in a bit later on, but does that help you psychologically, or is there too much rivalry going on?
There's no real
there's
rivalry.
no
We just
rivalry.
both want to do the best. You
We
know,
want to
yeah.
encourage each other, and there's no rivalry. We do give a bit of banter and that, just for everyone.
There might be rivalry if we was together within 50 metres of the end. That's where the rivalry, there might be. But it's not really about that, really, is it? It's about, just...
We train together, we do all training together.
We're going to
and
come on to that.
everything.
But so within a race scenario, then, do you try and, like the Brownlees used to?
They help each
You
other.
mentioned the Brownlees, didn't you?
Yeah.
So do you do that, like try and help each other within
I would
the
say
race?
we would, but
If you can.
as it happens in a race, we're quite separate, aren't we? Because I'm slightly faster at running, so I get a bit of a lead on the run. Then he's a better biker, so he goes past me on the bike, and then I'm trying to chase him down on the second run. But if we're both fit, that's how it would normally go.
I don't let him.
And I just can't quite catch him.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? And if that's the understanding, and that's how you are, then it's a race, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
good.
it. But if we do qualifiers, for example, it could be anybody's.
Anything can happen in qualifiers.
Anything.
We never really turn up fit enough for the qualifiers. It's really frustrating because sometimes we can do a decent 10k, decent bike, and because we haven't really trained properly, we sometimes really fall apart.
We've ended up walking both of us together on
it's
the last
been like
5k
that, hasn't it?
in the qualifiers and stuff. Yeah, we're just we're just laughing at
You
each
come
other.
out of T2 limping for 200 metres and you're like, we need to get a move on here or we're not going to qualify. And it's just, you're forcing it, aren't you?
Well, come on, kiddo, let's go.
We can do this.
Brilliant. Right, so going back to growing up as a kid, kids. Sorry, I'm just used to saying kids.
Best time of our lives,
What
Richard.
did you do? What did you get into? I'm just going to plug that in because it's just.
What did we do? We was brought up in pubs.
Right.
And when we was younger, we'd either go out cycling together just round the villages or the little towns where we lived. We lived in Barton and stuff. So we'd go cycling out around there and we'd be playing football together all the time. My mates had been mates with Rob's mates, so we'd always have 20 of us playing football together or something like that.
It was heavy. It was heavy on football.
We was always together, me and Rob, and his mates and my mates were always intermingled. We'd do we had a block round where we lived, our pub in Mansfield, where we'd do running sessions. We'd just run round the block and time each other and see how many. All right, we'll do 10 laps today and see how long it'll take us.
We'd have times for everyone.
We had
One
times
lap,
for
2 laps, 10 laps, 20 laps.
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It was probably about a 250 metre loop. Do you know what I mean? Oh, the pub's closed Sunday afternoon. No cars are going to be about. Let's go for our record and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Yeah. But we'd do every sport. When we lived in Barton, we'd do a few days on the trot where you'd go and do badminton, or we'd go swimming every day, or it was every sport, wasn't it? And
Rob was always really good at football because he'd played with all my mates. He was never scared because he was playing people 3 years older than him, and he was obviously a lot little, but he wasn't scared of tackling or anything. It made him a real good footballer. And then for running, for example, I was real good at running in my year, and he'd be trying to keep up with me, and I can't beat you. I'm like, you shouldn't be able to beat me, Rob. You're 3 years younger.
Yeah.
And I'm like one of the best in my
year.
year.
At football, I did have a bit of a 50 pence head. You know, I couldn't head the ball. From like the age of 4 or 5, you slide tackling kids who were, 7 or 8, aren't you? So my tackling was pretty good, but the heading was horrendous. It always has been.
And we've never been able to compare because I was like a forward and he was a defender, so he'd be trying to tackle me and I'd be trying to get past him. It was just always weird like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we just grew up, did everything together.
No specific.
No, we never was a professional or anything.
Couple of years table tennis. Do you remember that in Mansfield? We had that table tennis table, and we played table tennis for a couple of years, didn't we? Got all right at table tennis.
Tried at that.
And then pool and snooker was always part of our lives, weren't they? From being a real young kid. Yeah. My dad used to take you to snooker about the age of 5, didn't he?
I was playing snooker at 5 on a full-size table, standing on a box, and I was getting breaks of 20 and stuff, and I was pretty good actually. And then
in fact, you was better at 5 than you are now. Really, would you?
So then we got into. I was playing pool at a really good level actually when I was like 18. When we lived in the pubs at that
age, weren't we? Late teenagers.
Really good level at that. And then I went and lived abroad and left him. So then he had to.
I had to grow up on my own, Richard. From the age of 16, 17, and you're growing up without your big brother. Exactly like that, yeah.
So we had 10 years apart, really, didn't we?
Yeah, you was out there for a long time, weren't you?
Yeah, I was like living abroad for 10 years near Benidorm.
Right.
You had a bike.
I had a bike.
Wall, didn't you?
Yeah, I had my bike, but I never used it, and I lived in the mountains and everything. It would have been perfect.
Yeah.
You look back, don't you? You think, could have been great on my bike. But I used to go running in the mountains. So while I was living abroad and I'd settled down and ended up having a family, I started doing a lot of running in the mountains. And I says to Rob, I'm like, I'm going to enter the Benidorm half marathon. I've always wanted to do like an half marathon or a marathon or something.
This was like our mid-20s at this point.
Yeah, so this was like 2005 or something like that. And so I did it, and I did like 1:28 for my first one. I was quite chuffed with that. I was like, I didn't know how good I'd be able to be in that. I said, I'm going to try and do it again, beat me time next year. Do you know what I mean? That was the big thing. And he's like, I'll give that a go next year.
Oh, did you run it the year before we both did it then?
Yeah, I'd done it before.
Okay, yeah. So then I said to you, I'll come with you the next year.
Have you been doing anything?
I've played Saturday and Sunday league football. So I was doing Saturday Sunday league football. Was training every Wednesday. So you've constantly got that.
Yeah, my youngest one, he does football. He's nearly 30 and he's football all his life, sort of thing, and he's the same. He hasn't got time for anything else. So that's what I was trying to get at. Once you've done something like that, that just takes over your life, doesn't it? Really.
Well, it was football, and then it was alcohol on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So it was like your life was pretty busy, except Monday, Tuesday. So you didn't really have time to really take on anything else because you was just partying and playing football. But then you obviously spoke to me about that, didn't you?
So we were going to do the Benidorm half marathon. It was quite funny actually because like he'd been doing his football and doing a bit of running. I'd been doing a run. We weren't talking much then, so we didn't know how each other was. Yeah. So we're on the start line at Benidorm half marathon. I'm like,
it was roasting.
And it was boiling hot, and I'm like, make sure you take some drinks and that. Do you know what I mean? Because he hadn't done a long run before, had you?
Well, I was doing a 10-mile run every Tuesday with a few guys.
Yeah, so that
Priory Park, and we was doing that every Tuesday. So I'd done a little bit of running for that specific event. But we get to Benidorm and end of November, and it was just a heat wave. So it was like 25 degrees. I've never really raced in hot weather before. Back at home, it was 3 degrees. So it was like you was training 3 degrees, and you go to 25. And for the first time you ever do that was very different. I never really drunk a drink when I was training, so I thought, well, I don't need to when you're doing half marathon. So we starts off, didn't we? We was flying, was doing really well, weren't we? I was probably running at about 1 hour.
We're running together.
Yeah, we're running together.
I'm like, oh, Rob's running. We're both running the same. I'm like,
exactly the same.
Are you trying to keep up? No, this is me. I'm like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah.
But, do you know what I mean? Because it was the first time. Yeah, it was the first time. Like, obviously, Rob's 26 and I'm 23 and I'm 26, and it's like the first time you both level, innit? Because he's always been like, I've been 16, he's been 13, for example. It's too much of a gap. So like it was the first time we was actually pretty level, and we was actually running together. It was like really bizarre, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was bizarre. Yeah, until 10 miles in.
And we got to 10 miles in.
I had a drink at this point.
Rob hadn't really had a drink, and I'd been saying, make sure you drink. I'd learnt that from like running in August in the temperature of 40 degrees. I used to put water bottles in trees when I used to go out on the way home from work. So then when I went for a run, I could get my water bottle out of a tree, and I was all right. But I was used to drinking water. So I'm running at 10 miles, and I'm like, all right, kid, I'm like, he ain't answering. Why ain't he answering me? He must be struggling. I'm struggling a bit. I'm like, all right. So I'm running along, Next thing, I'm like, where's he gone? I can't see him. Goes round an hairpin, and I can't see him, and I see this ambulance.
And as I was running up the road, I just ran to my right straight into a tree.
Wow.
I just needed the shade on the floor, and I crouched down and I'm crawling to the shade. I'm crawling to the shade of the humans stood there, the fans or whatever you call them, and they're all looking at me weird. And next minute I'm in an ambulance. Gets to what I call the death tent. I always call them at the events now, where you have the drips put in you. And I was unconscious for an hour.
Blimey.
So I literally ran myself into
dehydration.
Well, I say I ran myself into dehydration. 2 nights earlier, we'd have a massive night out.
He'd had a big night out, hadn't he?
Which
because you do
towards it,
16 drinks, you get the sambucas out, and I don't want taking my sport seriously. It's just I went for it, and I'm thinking it was a pretty heavy session, and I felt it even the day after. And then the following day we're running this bloody half marathon. I'm like, well, that wasn't the best preparation. So everyone's blaming that, but I thought, well, I think there's something else going on here. And so yeah, obviously I come round, that kind of shook me up a little bit. And it took me a few years to work all like salt intake and stuff like that. But when I was getting taught about that off somebody, I listened and took it seriously, which then helped me for future races in hot weather. Now I just love hot weather racing. If it's 30 to 40 degrees, perfect for me. I'm solar powered. Yeah. Need it hot.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you've turned that corner of being rubbish in heat to being very good.
It was a big lesson, wasn't it?
Massive lesson.
Like
yeah.
Something like that wakes you up to that.
Yeah, start listening.
Heat.
Yeah.
And it's these things come along at different times, don't they? Yeah. They're there for a reason. I always believe that these things happen for a reason, and it's a lesson.
It is a good lesson. We went back the next year, didn't we? I didn't really bother doing even any training for it.
Did you do it a second time?
Yeah, I did the second time, and I think I did something like 139 or 140 or something, and I remember afterwards feeling disappointed in myself. So you've done an half marathon.
I got down to like 126 then.
Yeah, he was doing pretty well.
I'd done all right.
There was this little disappointment in the back of my head, and then I was kind of getting disappointed with football towards like late 20s, and I'm thinking I need to give myself a bit of a challenge what I make an effort for, because if I just turn up to a race with no training and feel like this, what's the point in doing this type of sport? So, and I was falling out of love with football as well, so it was like, right, I want to do something, and I want to incorporate cycling. No idea why, just we grew up watching Tour de France, and you always you enjoy it.
You had an old bike, and you used to bike to work and race your time to try and get there as quick as you could to work.
That was going back to late teenager again. I biked to work my apprenticeship. That was always about 6-7 miles away, so you're doing 40 miles a day. You don't realise, but that was red lining to work every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning.
He used to time himself to get there.
Yeah. I remember getting down to 16:43. I knew exactly the time. I crashed a few times on the corners because I was pushing it too much, and you do have these little weird things going on, don't you? But then you get a car when you're 19, don't you? And you stop biking. So I wanted to do something with a bike. Didn't really have a bike. And I wanted to do track cycling, but obviously it's Manchester. I think there's something going on in Scunthorpe maybe at the time. But then I'm thinking, well, the costing going there, the effort, and I was like, that's just not going to be realistic. So eventually got into. I thought, right, I need a challenge, and then I remember one day at work, my apprentice was talking about his older brother, and he was doing Wimbledon. 70.3 Ironman.
Okay.
At the time, that was classed as like the hardest one in the world. So I had all this like input coming in, thinking this is a really hard event. It's finishing with this half marathon, and I was like, "Whoa, that looks." And I'm saying to him, "What? All in one day?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "That seems incredible." I'm like, "Gonna have to train for something like that." So as he's telling me this, at the same time, in the background of my life. One of my friends at the age of 27, he'd committed suicide, and he was one of the football team, and he was the highlight of the team. He was the party starter. He was just a great guy, and so there was all this like sadness in the background. But when I was going to work and talk to my apprentice, he was just like telling me stories about his brother, which just seemed out of this world. So I'm thinking, right, I'm gonna do that next year. I'm gonna do this 70.3, and I'm gonna raise money for. Arthritis research campaign because my friend who committed suicide, he had arthritis, but he was going to stages which I think it got to a point where he had to like start injecting, and that was just psychologically I think it maybe took him over the edge. Obviously don't know every detail what was going on in his head, but you know, he's in his 20s, and it kind of fell apart for him, bless him. And so yeah, I wanted to raise money for that. So I'm thinking, right, now I need to go swimming. You've probably heard this story a lot of times from a lot of athletes. They turn up at swimming, think that they're invincible, and I got introduced to Hull Masters pretty quickly. So I went down to Hull Masters. He said, Rob, I can't really help you out this session because we're getting ready for a gala in a couple of weeks. When you come back next week, I'm going to look at your stroke. Just do what you can for now. I'm putting you in this lane. You're the only person in this lane. It was on the right-hand side. Everyone's tanking it up the lanes. And I got 12 metres. I swam 12 metres and had to grab on the side, and I'm panting away. And I'm just trying for about an hour, but most of the time I was just at the end of the pool panting away. And he's like, I've got a lot to work on with you. He says, I've got some really nice ideas on how to get you. He was really positive and helpful. So I come back the next week, and you just keep turning up. And if you turn up and you're getting good advice, within 3 months I was at okay level of swimming. And then you see him, like, you get talking to some of the guys there doing triathlons and a really good standard. So I'm like, right, I'm going to go in their lane. So I went in their lane, and I tried my best to keep up with them every single week. And there was real support. It was like, just keep up for as long as you want, take a breather when you need it. And he was just nearly vomiting at the end of the pool every time. It was ridiculous. Yeah. But it gets you better.
Yeah.
And then eventually you calm your stroke down, and you're not at that red lining anymore. You just get this real nice swimming like ability. So that kind of got me ready for the swim. But the funny thing is, going to Exmoor like 10 months later, we goes down there, and the day before there's the practice swim on. And I'd been given this wetsuit off my mate. He was just a surfer, and it had these multicoloured panels. One was like this pink, green. It was probably a 15-year-old, 20-year-old suit. So it was all like not even proper colours, and it wasn't like that proper like shiny neoprene.
Yeah, it wasn't a swimmer's suit.
Yeah, it was a surfer's suit. Yeah. So it didn't fit.
You didn't know this, did you?
I didn't have a clue. It was quite baggy and all this kind of stuff. So I went for this practice swim, and it was to the buoy and back. I'd only done 2 open waters swims before then, and swam up there, come back, and we're all like near our like bags and stuff, getting changed, and I was just shivering. I was just shivering for like 45 minutes. And this one kid, random athlete, came up to me and was like, "What are you wearing?" So I'm like, well, he said, "That's why he called. You're wearing the wrong wetsuit. This is not suitable at all." He says, "You won't survive tomorrow." So I was like, "No, I don't think I will. I can't even do 400 metres. And he says, "You need to go see the Blue 70 tent." So Blue 70 was there, and they had this nice little tent and stuff. And so, yeah, went to the Blue 70 tent. I says, "Can you help me out? Apparently I need a wetsuit." So I showed him what I'd got, and they just was in hysterics laughing at me.
Weren't you shivering for like 2 hours after that swim or something?
Yeah, I was just shivering all day. It was just ridiculous. So I went down there. They says, quickly measured me up. They said, "You need this one. This is like medium size, whatever." So I said that. And I got back to the digs on the night and got dressed in it, came out in front of my family, started messing about, they were all laughing. And I'm like, it just felt super tight. It felt almost uncomfortable. But I had this trust. I had to put this trust in this new wetsuit. So the first time swimming it was the following day, and I remember going in the water straight away, and I felt amazing, just right on the top of the water. Yeah, it felt great, and I put a great swim in. I was like, "That's fantastic!" Yeah, I was buzzing. So that just set me up for that event. So that was great. Yeah. I remember joining that event on the run though. It was. I don't know what I was doing with the nutrition, and you get these bad stomach cramps, don't you? And I was doubled over on the run. It was more of a walk. I remember my mother-in-law. She just picked up the ticker tape from the side, just lifted it up so I could crouch underneath. She went, just quit, just call it a day. You don't want to be doing that. You hate yourself. And I probably had maybe 6-7 miles to go, something like that. And I paused for a minute. Well, not even that, about 10 seconds. I paused and I was tempted. And I just thought, I'm not really doing this for me. Yeah. I'm doing this because I've just raised 12 grand for charity. Wow. Yeah. if I quit, that's just like, and so I'm like, it don't really matter.
Is that how much you raised?
Yeah. So I was like,
that's real good.
Raised 12 grand, and I was like, well, I may as well just walk. It doesn't really matter if I walk, does it? Because I've got time in the bank. I'm okay. I'd put a decent shift in up to then. So I just thought, well, we'll just walk through. 2 miles later, all of a sudden, started feeling good. So the last 4 miles, I actually ran really well.
Did you?
Yeah, I put a decent ending in. And then you're like, wow, you're really chuffed with yourself. I've done the training, which I never did for that second half marathon. And then I felt this like internal reward where you think, I'm going to try that again. So that's kind of...
Didn't you win a prize there?
The following year I raised about 12 grand again for the same charity. But apparently what I didn't know is that the guys from the Rotary Club at the time came over to me and says, you do realise you're the highest fundraiser, don't you? I says, no, I didn't have a clue. He says, well, you've just won a bike. So I'm like, well, that's useful because my seat post has just snapped when I was 20 miles into this bike. So the last 30 miles of the second time I did it, my seat post was down to the bottom.
You was on a road bike, weren't you?
No, I bought that Head Lab 3 time trial bike for like 300 quid or something.
Yeah.
And the seat post had snapped, so it was real effort getting through 36 miles on hills. And I had these cramps in my hamstrings because I couldn't sit down properly.
No way.
So I was like, well, that's useful because my bike's just snapped.
So it won a brand new argon carbon thing.
Wow. I still have that bike now on my table.
That's amazing. It's amazing how these things happen, isn't it? You've put all that work in and you've done all that for charity, and then because you haven't asked for anything else, you've been rewarded.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
Somebody giving you something that you actually need.
Yeah, he said, come,
you know what I mean? It's like
it's manic, isn't it?
Come down in a couple of weeks. We'll get you all fitted out, get you all kitted out, and stuff like that. It was great out.
Yeah,
so
that's a great story. So that was your first triathlon that you went into?
They was my first 2 triathlons, I decided to...
So why did you pick, other than the young lad at work, 70.3?
I didn't know any other distances. I just knew that the race was happening because his brother was doing it, and I thought that was so inspiring.
If you're not into the world of triathlon, then you wouldn't know what else was about.
That's scary doing that, though.
Why would I do a sprint or even, like, let's say, a full Ironman if I've been inspired by the 70.3? If you're inspired by it, you're going to give it a crack, aren't you?
100%.
There was no logical sense in it all. There wasn't any build-up. It was just...
This amazes me, that the number of, like, people have come on and they've said, I went and did an Ironman. I'm like... You couldn't swim, you really weren't on a bike before, you couldn't run, and you went and did an Ironman. It's like, there's no logic there, is there?
That is a bit
all that time I was doing them 2 events, I was learning about the Ironman brand, of course, and then you fall in love with all that side.
And it's a different side, isn't it? I was never into that. I was into the Brownlee Brothers, that side of it, the standard and the sprint distance. I was always into that, watch that all the time. What really interested in, because I'm a fan and I love to watch it as well as take part in it. And I love to watch that type of racing. Not really interested in the longer distances, or wasn't. I am now, because I think they've made it a lot more accessible. And you could never really watch any of those anyway. You know what I mean? So I never really got involved in the longer distance. It's funny how we all come to it different ways, isn't it? And find our own point. Yeah. So what about you then?
So you might think, where was Dave while Rob was doing all this?
That's exactly what I think.
That's what you're thinking, because I've been living in Spain, and then he's started doing that after the half marathons. So we'd done these half marathons in like 2007, 2008, and then in 2009, I got off my moped one day up for work, cramps in my stomach, got rushed to hospital. I had a big tumour wrapped around my right kidney and my main artery in my vena cava, I think it's called.
Right.
So I had to have cancer treatment for like 6 months, 8 months. It was.
So that was back in
2009.
2009.
I had a critical 24 hours to live. It was like I've got a bad blood clot here, and if it had burst, obviously I'd have been gone. All the family, even Rob, had to rush over to Spain to come and see me and everything. And the doctors had said if I hadn't have been as fit and healthy as I was, I'd have been dead.
Yeah.
And that's always stuck with me. And I managed to get through 2009. It was horrendous. My mum and dad had to come and live in Spain to help me do my job, what I did and everything. And in 2010 I moved back to England.
Right.
So for the
what did you do over in Spain, by the way?
So I set up my own business, going around cleaning all beer lines in all the bars down Costa Blanca.
Right,
so I did Benidorm, and I went down to Torrevieja and stuff places like that. Right. Covered quite a lot, and I was getting quite a good little business, and obviously, but then the recession hit, didn't it? 2008 slowed everything down in Spain. I kept my clients, but it was just getting a bit harder and harder, and I could just see it. And I'm like, my wife had been saying for years, can we move back to England? I met her over there, and she'd lived there for a long time. But I was like, no, we met in Spain. I'm not ready to go back. And then after being treated for cancer and all that, and getting through it in 2009, in 2010, I says, we better go back to England because we can get the help in England if I'm ill. Well, you don't get sick pay or anything really in Spain. So we was.
But Spain did look after you during that.
The treatment was brilliant.
Was fantastic. And the hospitals was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, the hospitals were class and everything. It was really good how I was looked after. But we just didn't get any help. But I came back and I was broken one eye. Oh yeah. When I came back from to England, I was broken.
Mentally, it got you like 10 months later. Like physically at the time, and physically at the time, you was kind of broken with the cancer. Mentally, you was actually okay.
I was all right.
And then when you come back and you physically was okay, mentally really
your brain,
didn't it?
I think your brain, while you're going through all this treatment and everything, your brain's like, right, I've got to get through it. And then the year after, it seems to like have a bit of a breather, like we can relax now and get through it. And that's when you start struggling. And it took me a while to get to, and I'm like, I've got a family, I've got 2 kids, I've got to get a job, and you're trying to set up a new life, and there's a lot of pressure there, isn't there?
Not only have you got to
and
deal
I was
with
broken, and it was really hard.
Yeah.
Well, your boy was quite young at the time, wasn't he?
At first we stayed with my mum and dad in a pub called in Bransburton, where a little village near Hornsey. We ended up staying in that village for a good few years, rented a house there, and I started doing HGV driving because I thought that'll pay for everything. I needed to find a job that would give me a decent wage, and I wasn't qualified now because I'd gone to live in Spain as soon as I'd left school, pretty much, didn't I, really? After a couple of years. So, and obviously then I started getting a bit better, and it was 2011, 2012, I started doing my running again. And then Rob's like, I'm doing these triathlons. I'm like, I don't like swimming. I've never liked swimming. Now, when I was little, I had a grommet in my ear, so I missed all swimming lessons with everyone. So everyone swam, and I didn't swim because I had a grommet in my ear. And so I couldn't learn to swim and everything. And it was... So my first taste of triathlons with Rob was I went to watch him in 2013 at Castle Howard.
Okay,
yeah. You ever been there?
Yeah, I've never been, but I know people who have.
Well, it's a stunning area.
Yeah, stunning. And I'd went to see him, and the atmosphere was amazing. A massive family day, and you're like, wow, what an atmosphere. And I went, I'm going to do this next year. That was my challenge. So
I think it was that standard try, wasn't it?
It was a standard. Yeah, it was a standard. Rob did a standard try.
They did multiple events, but it was the standard try.
I think Rob had come I'm guessing he'd probably come about 15th, top 10 maybe.
I come 9th, Dave. It was the top 10. It was Fraser Cartmel who won that day. So you're not going to come first.
Yeah, he was a good one.
Yeah, he was as good as like Phil Graves back in the day, wasn't he? So Phil Graves and Fraser Cartmel used to have a few challenges now and again.
Right, so they did the standard.
I don't know how many other pros was in it at that point, but
so he came 9th anyway. So I'm like, I'll have a go at that next year, because I'd just done in 2013 I'd done a big bike ride. I organised a big charity bike ride, and we did from Land's End to Hull.
Okay, yeah.
And like my mum bought a bike, my wife bought a bike, I bought a bike, we all started cycling.
Wow.
And raised like 13 grand for cancer research. I wanted to give something back. That obviously then I was mentally feeling better.
Yeah.
And I'd signed up to do this, I'd bike to watch Rob do this triathlon, and I'm like, I want to give that a go. I'll give that a go. That can be my next challenge. I'm always trying to, because obviously my doctors have always said try and be as fit and healthy as you can, type of thing. Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to have to learn to swim. Rob's like, you're going to have to go to Masters and do what I did.
You've got to come to Masters. He had to go there.
So then my swimming story's the same as everybody else.
Yes. Unless you've been swimming from this age, it's such a hard thing to master.
But he was good at swimming. He learned swimming. Got good. I just can't.
I don't think you really learn unless you've done it from this age and you've gone through all the clubs properly. You don't really learn.
I could get 3 or 4 swims in for 10 months when I first started. Yeah. So it was like this real injection of swimming. Whereas Dave could only
swim once a week,
twice a week at max.
Because I was working away all week in my truck.
So it was as his stroke was coming on, it took longer, didn't it?
Yeah. Plus that consistency.
Consistency is the key for everything, isn't it? Really. But I did all right, didn't I?
You did all right. You started working your way through the lanes, so it was getting better, and we had some really good sessions.
Well, I'm meaning more. I did all right in my triathlon.
All right.
I did all right.
not your swimming.
No, well, what I noticed so doing this triathlon, I did my swim, and I did all right in my swim. But then I'm on my bike, and then I've got these people zooming past me on the bike with all the rig gear, and I'm thinking, I can't believe I've just beat him in the swim.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't how else, it was that. And then I was like, and then a few people went past me, but not many on the bike, and I only had an old road bike, didn't I?
Yeah. Oh, it was horrendous, your road bike, to be fair. Dave, it was probably the worst bike I've ever seen.
And then,
but you do anything on it.
And then I started going through the run, and I'm overtaking people. And I actually did all right. Yeah, I think I did like...
You got to the good bit.
Yeah.
On the run.
I think I did about 2 hours 15 minutes or something like that, 2 hours 20 at Castle, which was pretty good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, I'm going to I'll try and beat that position next year. I think I'd come like 98th in the race or something. I'm going to try and get in the top 50 next year instead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just give myself something else to go. So I carried on, and I got like top... I was 48th or something like that.
Did you have your TT bike by then or not? No, so
you're still on the road bike. Yeah, I was still on the road bike. I didn't get my TT bike till 2018.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And did you join clubs or anything? Were you
we'd kind of joined. Not when I first started. I kind of joined Barracuda after about a year and a half, something like that. But it wasn't necessarily doing anything. It was still isolated training, and I just knew a couple of characters from there, and characters who was really helping me out. There was Ryan Epworth at the time who was helping me out with heat weather, because I was training for like Lanzarote.
Right.
I'd used the 70.3 time to qualify for the GB World Championships, which was my first taste of GB stuff.
What year was that?
Well, that was going into 2013.
Right.
So I'd done these two 70.3s. I read everything, and I think it was maybe Ryan himself or maybe Paul Noble, I can't remember the time. They was telling me about like GB stuff.
So that's how you come across.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, and I'd read everything, and I just thought, well, I think I can input my 70.3 time for this, and it was going to be in the June of 2013. I thought, well, I'm going to be well fit then, because I've got Ironman Lanzarote in the May. I didn't once think of you need to recover from these races. That was never on the agenda.
This is a good story, isn't it? So, this is your first GB.
So I goes into Ironman Lanzarote. I got taught how to do salt intake from Mark Harney and Ryan Epworth. Brilliant athletes. Absolutely taught me all that kind of stuff. And so I was prepared for the heat weather of Lanzarote. So I turned to Lanzarote, great performance, absolutely felt amazing, but it drained me. And then 2 weeks later, I'm supposed to be racing the long distance World Championships triathlon in Belfort in France. Looking forward to it, but for the next it was 2 weeks apart. So when you first do an Ironman, that's not enough. Maybe in the future that's not horrendous, but it's still a big ask. So I goes. Me and my wife drove down to Belfort in the June, and it was the worst weather ever. It was so bad they cancelled the swim.
Right.
So I'm like, well, I'm buzzing because you know I was ranked.
One less thing to do. One less duathlon.
I was ranked
about. They didn't turn it into a duathlon then.
Yeah, well, they did.
Oh, they did turn it into a duathlon.
Yeah, you started with it. They ended up saying,
so that's going to be hard.
Yeah, so I'm like, this.
Isn't it, really?
Well,
if you think about it,
he didn't think that though, did he?
I didn't know that. So I'm thinking it's going to be easier because I can run. I'm a half decent runner, so I'm like, well, that's going to really help me. I was ranked like 60th out of 63 people in my age group. I'd only just qualified. I didn't, like a lot of people, when you hear the first stories of getting into the GB squad, they don't feel like they deserve to be there. I didn't feel...
Imposter syndrome, isn't it?
I felt like an imposter.
Yeah.
So here I am, imposter me, my wife there, absolutely freezing cold. It was pissing down with rain. They cancelled the swim. So it goes into the, gets the first run done, and that was hard. They told me it was cross country. I didn't pay attention to any of the details of the race. He
never does.
I never do. It's just turn up. So I'd got these like cross country trainers, and it wasn't. It was just a standard trail. You could have just gone on your normal tarmac trainers. So we did that, and everyone beforehand, you get chatting to a couple of people down at the campsite. Is like, oh, how are you prepared for the hill? Have you changed all your gear in? What are you on about? well, the hill, I didn't realise this hill was the Ballon d'Alsac. It was the first ever climb in the Tour de France in like 1904. It's quite famous. I didn't have a clue.
And you watched the Tour de France?
Yeah, exactly. So we're going up this hill, and I'm absolutely shattered going up this hill. And then you see the sign, start of the climb. I'm thinking, well, what we've been doing for 40 minutes? For 40 minutes, we've just been going uphill, and now we're going uphill. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Just going back a little bit there, what did you do with the run? Did you go mental in the first run to try and steal people?
Dave, probably. You know what I mean?
How old were you at this point?
So this would have been so I'd have been 32.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So 32.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going up this mountain, and maybe I didn't have the right gear in, but equally I wasn't strong enough. So I'm going up there, and everybody's overtaking me. So I'm not even getting close to anybody. Everybody's going past me like I am a sitting duck. It's ridiculous. And so as we get maybe, well, I don't know how far up the hill at the time it was, but endless summits. So we get to this one of these endless summits, and there's this guy in this orange suit laid out on the floor with his bike. On the side of the road, and as I'm approaching him from a couple of 100 metres away, nobody's stopping, and it's like it almost sinks your heart. You're like, what? Why isn't anybody helping this guy? Obviously, he's from the Netherlands because he's in the orange suit. So I'm like, so I pulled up over on the bike and stopped with him, and he's completely out of it, and it's like, well, what do I do? I'm not a medic, am I? So I'm like, I goes down to help him, and within seconds, there's another two guys who have stopped on the bikes. And as I looked up, I realised that it's the Brits that have stopped. So there's me and these other two guys who were in our GB outfits, and it was an unusual moment because instantly after that there was the motorbike turned up, and as they turn up, it's like, well, you can't do anything, can you? They're the medics, they'll take over. So we felt comfortable enough to get on our bikes, us three Brits. So as we get on our bikes, it's this instant like feeling of I belong. This is what it's about. It's almost making me come to tears now thinking about it. This is what it's about. This is what sport's about. This is what we're about as a nation. I belong in this team. So now what happens today now, this is me. So I felt content with that. I felt comfortable with that. Luckily enough, within 100 metres it was the summit. So I was like, thank goodness, it's all come together. So he gets down the hill, you do the run, and he put a decent shift in, and that was kind of my introduction to what GB Agegroup sport was all about. But then I just came away from that. It wasn't Ironman, so I wasn't that. I enjoyed that moment and then them little moments, but it was the Ironman Lanzarote set the seed for me. It was like, right, I need to go down this Ironman trail. So that's kind of I pulled away from that.
So was it Kona that you were? Was that the Holy Grail?
Didn't you qualify that year though for?
Well,
Kona?
Kona was like. I didn't think about Kona at that particular point, but
did you know about Kona?
Yeah, I knew about Kona, but it just felt like so like distant, and I didn't even feel like I was anywhere good enough because I'd done Lanzarote, I came like 128th.
Right.
Don't realise that's actually a decent performance in Lanzarote, especially
with the terrain,
yeah, but you don't.
Yeah,
and you just like and the quality of athletes in Europe is just insane. So then I did Ironman Wales later in the year.
Another easy one.
Yeah, I decided the easy ones.
Doesn't he?
And that's what when the penny dropped, because when I looked at the results, I was about 3 minutes off qualifying for Kona.
Right.
And I'm like, and I remember biking, and it was right near the end of the bike. A guy came past me, and it was Magnus Backstead, and I'm like, I've just been biking alongside a Tour de France cyclist. Like, this is ridiculous. So and you're going past pros on the right near the end of the bike course, and you're like, okay, yeah, they're better than me. They've just blew up, you know what I mean? You get it, but equally, I wouldn't have been far off. So I'm like, this is things. During the ride, it was like this things are starting to develop here, and I ran well, and then looking when you analyse the results like a week later and stuff, you're like, I'm only 3 minutes off, or it's 3 or 13, I can't remember.
What year was that?
So that was 2013.
Oh, was it?
So it was the same year.
Right,
yeah. So I'm like, right, Wales, I'm coming back to Wales next year, and I'm going to chip off it was either 3 or 13, my apologies. And then you're like, you're like, I'm going to chip off that time. And so I did. I took like 15, 16 minutes off. And then I come 6th in my age group, which was the last qualifying place for Connor.
Yeah.
So it's like, right,
done.
Connor's on. That's it. We was all celebrating.
And where did you make those gains the most?
In my head.
No, but like, obviously you had 3 minutes, you say.
You had to catch 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Well,
which, and you made 16 minutes up.
But it was
Where
more.
did you, which part of it try?
Well, yeah, but during the year before, I've stopped and helped someone with a puncture. It's the attitude. It's more the attitude. I was like,
You knew it was near enough there anyway. 3 minutes is nothing, is it? Really?
I'd kind of.
That's what makes me ask. But 3 minutes is nothing. But to gain 16 minutes from your previous.
Well, it was getting your race head on. It's literally, you know, when I'm saying,
was it meant more?
It was
did
more
you change your bike
experience.
setup? You know,
Well,
did you
no, it
improve
was.
your training? You know, your nutrition.
I knew that going into that race, I need to stop helping people. If I'm racing.
Do it.
Yeah. I like if I see someone with a puncture, if I can reach down and chuck them an inner tube, fine.
Yeah.
But don't stop. It's not my problem, and it's a real selfish attitude. It's a real selfish
but you was going
attitude.
for Kona, weren't you?
Yeah.
That was it. I'm going for Kona now.
Yeah.
And I
If
think
somebody's
that's the thing,
if somebody
it's
was
not your natural instinct.
yeah, if somebody's hair different, but if they've got puncture, it's like, well, I can't go stopping every time you see somebody. It's ridiculous thought process. But at the time,
If
it
you've got
wasn't.
like a goal like Kona,
Yeah.
if it's just a general race and there's no end goal, then of course you would.
Yeah.
You'd do that, wouldn't you? But if you've got a goal like Kona, then you can't.
Yeah,
do it, can you?
yeah. Again, if someone was seriously out, you'd pull on them. But if it's just a puncher or whatever, it's like, well, you don't need to be the guy that freaking helps everybody. Yeah. And I had to have this little bit of selfish hat on, where you've got to try and remember when to put this selfish hat on and when you're not. Right. And so yeah, when I race now, I can get this like race cap on and say, right, I'm focused. So it's just like, and I just think that makes you 10 times better on race day if you can just switch on. One of the best people we know for doing this is Owen James, isn't it? He's GB, you know. When we see him,
I haven't met him, but I know Owen from socials.
Don't try and talk to him on race day.
we can't, can we?
We can't speak to him.
Some people like that, isn't they? They just get so fixated.
After the race, we won't stop chatting, will he?
We love the guy. You go for pizzas and all sorts. Don't we have a drink with him?
Yeah.
But you know, he's just a great guy.
His race head, his quality.
You can learn a lot of him.
Yeah, we have
over the
learned
years.
a lot,
We've learned a lot how to max. Obviously, I learned this race cap from the Ironman, but equally, it's fine tuning that with meeting people like Owen. You know, to do that. So that's how that.
Yeah, so he was doing his Ironman stuff, qualifying for Kona, and I'd just got into this Castle Howard stuff, and I think I went to watch it at one of the Ironmans. I'm like, that looks good, but it's a bit scary doing all that. Do you know what I mean? A bit too much when you've just done a standard in it. I'm like, there's no way I could do that. And then we was coming in at the end of 2015. I says, right, I'm going to go and do a one-course weekender because it's split over 3 days, and I think I might be able to cope with that in my head.
Yeah. And that's a great way of being introduced, isn't it, into that?
Yeah, so I wanted to give that. I wanted to give that a bash. 2016. You didn't do that, did you, Rob? No, you didn't. So 2016, I was going to do it, but then I had to cancel it because I got ill again. Right. Cancer had come back.
So that was how long?
In 2000. Years? So from 2009 to 2007.
Right.
2016, sorry. Right. From 2009 to 2016.
Yeah, that's not the second time you had cancer. You had cancer as like a 19-year-old. 1999, yeah.
So this is the third time?
That was the third or fourth time, because I'd had skin cancer in between as well, but that didn't really affect all my races.
Sure.
So I've been watching him do these Ironmans, and I'm like, I want to have a go. So I entered 2016, then obviously, beginning of 2016, diagnosed with cancer, loads of treatment again, pretty bad again.
Was it the same thing that come back?
Yeah, it'd come back again in my stomach, so I all cut up there.
Is it always your stomach that's...
It was issue? All around there. It hadn't been. It's all been different things.
Right, okay.
So I had to cancel 2016. I says, I'm gonna defer it to 2017. So the organiser's like, yeah, that we can do that, that's fine. So I told my doctor, and he's like, there's no way you'll be able to do that next year. I went, I will. I'll do that next year. So we'd already planned to get... me and my wife had been together since 2002, and we'd planned to get married in 2017 as well. So me and him get our heads together, race heads. What can we do? How can we do all this? Right, so you're married in August, you've got the race in July, Stag Do has to be June, doesn't it? There's a training week, we'll go abroad. So went to Mallorca, didn't we?
4 weeks before, perfect.
It was like 2 or 3 weeks before long course weekender. So we had a week on the bike there, And I just came on a different level, didn't I, in that week?
Yeah.
I was like, everyone was expecting me to be behind everyone, and I was like, me and Rob was at the front, and he was like, what's happened here? All of a sudden I've caught Rob up on the bike. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah, and I couldn't get away from you on the climbs.
No, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, but you want
because Rob's always been that much better than me on the bike them few years before. Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't just the cycling that came on, because you had a lot of drink that week, didn't you?
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
It was insane. We had hardly any sleep, did we? We did 7 days cycling, but we also did 7 nights drinking, and I'm sure we was on about 3-4 hours sleep a night.
It was like getting in at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, then getting up 6-7 so we could go and do Sakalabra and stuff. Yeah. And I remember getting on the aeroplane on the way back, and everyone was like, it was all just shattered for the full week.
I remember that recovery day we did on the flats, and I just could not keep up with any of you. My eyes were bright red. I'm like, what are we doing today? And
it was a recovery day on the flats. So I went, right, I'm going for it, and you can try and catch me. Yeah. So then there was like 4 of them trying to chase me down.
Yeah, and I just got spat out the back, and I couldn't even see the tarmac. It was ridiculous.
That was. It was ridiculous. So then, so I came home and went to do the long course weekender. But obviously, then the organisers had told the TV crew about our story.
Right.
So on the way down there, I'm dreading out what the water's going to be like, because I hate swimming and I'm rubbish at swimming. And then the TV company rang me and says, "Can we meet you for a chat about this thing?" So I'm like, "Oh right, yeah, okay." So I gets there. Looks out straight away to see the sea, see what it's like, and it was like, oh, it's calm. Like, so because it was a Friday night, the swim, so I think we got there at like Friday afternoon or something like that, and I'm like, oh, it's calm, get in. And that's one of the only things about Ironman that puts me off. You can train all year, and then if the sea could be real rough, couldn't it?
Oh, you don't know what you're going to get.
No, and it could be. You put in your life.
It could be calm the hours before, and then
exactly.
It could be.
Especially at Tenby, because
so I was bricking that, but then that calmed me down when as soon as I saw the water was still, I was like, get in. And then I start getting interviewed, and they're like, we're going to follow you around for the full weekend, right?
No pressure,
so I'm like, really? So I was telling them my story and everything, and they were loving it. So I did my swim, got out the swim, and I did it in 1:16, and I thought I was going to be about 1:30. So I was like, wow, that's good. And I'm still on this rickety old road bike in 2017, aren't I? So. And then I did the bike, and I started off with this group, because I set you off in like groups of 10 or something.
Right.
And within like the first hill, there was only 2 of us left, and then it's just all splits up, and you just overtaking people all day, aren't you? And then on the run, I did pretty good on the run. The camera crew were following me around and all this, and it was the hardest run I've ever done, really, because the hills it's horrible, Tenby and that, innit, for the marathon.
Yeah, well, it's a different course to the Ironman Wales.
Yeah, it was a different
nevertheless,
course.
It's probably a better course than one you did, to be fair, yeah.
So... But I ended up coming like 42nd out of nearly 700 people on my rickety old bike, and it's the first time, and I'm like, I can't believe I've just done that.
And what did you think, realistically, after you'd done that and you came in that position?
And I was thinking, if I had a decent TT bike, he's going, if you had a decent TT bike, that'd be at least 10 more minutes off. Do you know what I mean? From a road bike, at least.
Yeah.
And then you look at your times, you think, I'd have made the top 20. And I've had cancer last year. What could I do if I have a couple of years training? So we did 2000. That was 2017, wasn't it? So then we goes, right, next year we're going big. And I said, I'm going to do the Ironman Bolton.
Right.
The full one.
Another easy one.
Yeah. So he goes, right, well, I'll do it. So we both did that, didn't we? Ironman Bolton.
So that's when you must have got your bike then.
I'd got my bike for Ironman Bolton, yeah. Well, what did I do there? How did I get it? I did the long course weekend, and with my results from long course weekender, I got a couple of companies sponsored me to get a new bike.
Wow.
They said, you deserve it, we'll treat you, get a new bike. And then one of them says, what's your dream bike? So I went, oh, my dream bike's a Cervelo P5. Do you know what I mean? Because that was the top bike at the time.
There was the best bikes
at the time.
Is
that the monocoque one? You know, where it's like that, and it's the seat. He's like hovering.
Oh no, it was before it. That was the P3X.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, yes. But, the P5X and the P3X.
Yeah.
So before that was the Cervelo P5, but it was the best aerofoil.
So they went, well, how much do you need? So I'm like, oh, one of my mates is selling one. Craig Lane, who's been on your thing.
Yes.
He was selling his for $3,000, and it was the perfect size for me.
Perfect.
And I'm like, I've got to try and get that, haven't I? So I've gone from a 300, 400 quid road bike to this P5, and all of a sudden everyone's like looking at your bike going, whoa. So I did Ironman Bolton, And I did all right, but then we'll go back to Rob.
Well, I did all right there. Did I qualify? No,
you qualified. You come third.
Yeah, of course I did.
Wow.
Sorry, I did it again.
You
a couple of years
smashed me.
later. That's when I crashed. So I qualified for Kona there, but I had a great performance, and I wasn't really expecting it as well. My training was okay, and it was like I didn't think I would have
pushing
done.
each other all year.
And that's going to account for a lot, isn't it?
I just felt
training together
great on
and
race
pushing
day.
each other.
I just felt great on race day, and when we got, I remember coming in on the bike, and my wife's there. She's like, "There's hardly any bikes in, Rob. Doing great." So I'm like, "It just gave me the confidence to run well." And by that time, I'd bought a watch because the problem I had in Outlaw a couple of years before was that I'd shoot off on the run, do the 5K in something stupid like 17 or 18 minutes, and you realise afterwards like that's way too fast, and so. I needed something to slow me down running because you can't feel your legs, so you think it's slow, but it's absolutely lightning. Yeah. And a lot of my training back then was like you do a 100-mile bike ride, and then I'd just run as fast as I can for a mile. So you just try and get the time down. I remember getting it down to like 5:20 straight off the bike, and it's just that type of training is maybe not that great when you're doing Ironman, but you can run fast off the bike, which is great when you're doing sprint standards, stuff like that. So I had this natural habit of just running way too fast off it. So I bought a watch, and so for Ironman Bolton, I remember setting off, and for the first kilometre, I must have looked at my watch every 5 seconds just to slow me right down. I'm like, I don't think I can really. My target was to run under 3:20 for the marathon, and it was like that was kind of a target that I hadn't really achieved. So it was like, right, I'm going to go for this today, but I have to do this pace in it. So. So I kind of got the pacing strategy pretty good. I think I ran a 3:21, wow. And I just felt great during the full run, and then it got me through Kona because I got fed. But I didn't go for the award ceremony the day after, because I knew if I went for the award ceremony the day after, I'd pay to go to Kona. So I was like, I'm not doing that.
And it just moved out.
Yeah,
just
2018. I'd moved house. Was building the house. I'd just set up a new business again, and it was like, I can't. I'm not going to have the money for Kona. It's just outrageous.
To help us train for Bolton, I've just remembered actually. You said, why don't we do the duathlon down at Bedford and try and qualify for GB?
And that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. And I thought that was as good a place as any to split the podcast. Like I said, it was nearly 2.5 hours in, so getting 2 episodes out of it seems to make sense. So we will find out in the next episode how they managed to qualify for GB in their age group, as well as lots of other stories that come to the fore. So a big thank you to the brothers Rob and Dave once again. Like I said at the beginning, really enjoyed chatting to them. Such a nice pair of guys. We had such a laugh. And stick around for part 2, coming in 2 weeks' time. So that's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. Please do drop us a comment on Spotify or Apple Podcast. And if you'd like to get in touch and come on the podcast yourself, if you're an age grouper, and share your journey, inspire others, you can drop us an email at Agegroup Multisport Podcast @gmail.com. You can DM us at Instagram, and our handle is amp_podcast. We're on Facebook at Richard Joseph Conway, and we've got our own YouTube channel where there's loads of videos of me making an idiot of myself, and in a training sense. And also these podcasts are all on there as well, so the views are going up very nicely on the YouTube channel, so thank you for that, because that was the whole reason I started the channel in the first place, to give the podcast another platform. Thank you once again, and we'll see you for part 2 in a fortnight. So don't forget, stay safe, keep training, and love the process.
The Agegroup Podcast. The Agegroup Podcast. The Agegroup Podcast. The Agegroup Podcast.